Good morning and welcome in, everyone. Before we get into this morning's live, I want to go over a quick overview of what is transpiring so far on this Wednesday morning before the US wakes up. Like, for the most part, some are getting to work right now, but as the East Coast and the West Coast start to wake up, we can see how the market it's been pretty flat right now. We're at $3.07 for XRP. It made a drop down yesterday, not much farther than we are right now. We've been on a pretty steady path here in the last, well, I'd say about 12 hours. We have like this little, what looks like a small inverted hammer candle, but let me put it this way. If there's any bit of, let's say they raised rates, which I think that's pretty unlikely at this point that we would see rates being raised today by the Fed. But if that were to happen, I could see a scenario where obviously you could see in the daily this reverse, and then you would end up with some kind of long leg doji here, and then you could work your way down in such a fashion. That is definitely a possibility here if we were to get rate raises, but I'd be surprised if we raised rates today. I think if anything, the worst case scenario, I think they would stay pat, but I could see them lowering rates by 25 basis points and Trump immediately coming on and saying this isn't enough. We need to lower rates at a faster, more efficient pace. And then that could stir up some volatility. But we won't know anything until we see the FOMC meeting and we see exactly what they're going to do. And the 4-hourly, a little bit bearish here in the 4-hourly, so that's not necessarily a good sign. But we'll see. We'll see if this has bigger optics here to fall and make a drop down. Looking around the market for the last week or two, and just looking around as it looks right now, you're not getting very much bounce back out of many things. Now, we are holding very crucial levels. That is the good thing about this. We're holding very critical levels, but we also have to pay attention to, just the narrative that's happening right now. Bitcoin, right now, if it can continue moving on and play this true, we're looking at about 110,000 in the short term. Now, it's going to depend a lot on the FOMC meeting. In the 4-hourly, we had a golden cross. And now we're trying to maintain that 20-day moving average, but we're on the bottom side of it right now. 2-hourly, we're starting to cross back down. Daily time frame, it's tricky because it's trying to hold. We're trying to hold. If we get any kind of good news out of the FOMC meeting, if they lower rates, we should have a nice pump in crypto. We should. Now, if they lower it by 50 basis points, I think we would be cooking. If they lowered it 50 basis points, which I highly doubt today, we'd cook. If they do it 25 basis points, we should still cook a little bit, but it'll be a mediocre rise. If they lower rates or stand pat, it could be trouble. Could be trouble. Also, looking at the commodities market today, gold's down $6, silver's up about 0.5%. So you're not getting much there in the eyes of what's coming forward. But with Bitcoin, we're on top of that symmetrical triangle still, and we back tested it. And yeah, you could say we're forming smaller versions of it, but that's where we're at right now. And XRP still sitting within this formation. It's got an inverted hammer on back-to-back days here in the daily. But the caveat here is we still have 11 hours left here for the daily candle, which means that this could very well, if the bad news comes out, this could reverse very quickly into a long leg doji. And I've seen it many times before on bad news. Conversely, on good news, we could soar out of here. And it would happen really quickly. If we got a rate cut today, we should have a volatile swing to the upside. And we're going to find that out soon. We'll go into what's going to happen here in just a minute. So good morning. 7:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, January 29th. 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So, I think we're off to a traditional start here. We can't really do much here until we see what happens at the FOMC meeting. The most up-to-date information that we have, got one from about 13 minutes ago from the Mint. We've got from the Financial Express, U.S. Fed FOMC meeting, what to expect, when, where to watch Powell's press conference. So if we look at the FOMC meeting, so the U.S. Fed FOMC meeting, what to expect, when and where to watch Powell's press conference. So today, the U.S. Federal Reserve, or the Fed's Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC, is set to announce its monetary policy decision for the first time in 2025. All eyes will be on Fed Chief Powell's press conference and how he takes up questions from the media, particularly after Trump regaining control of the White House. The FOMC meeting is held over 2 days, January 28th and 29th, and will conclude with Fed Chair Jerome Powell announcing the decision at 2 p.m. Eastern Time today, or 12:30 a.m. IST Thursday. Live streaming of the FOMC announcement will be available at U.S. Fed's YouTube channel, yada yada. The Federal Reserve is expected to keep interest rates unchanged in the January FOMC meeting on Wednesday. That would be interesting. President Trump has called for an immediate interest rate cut, but the Federal Reserve may delay further cuts due to inflation concerns. Oh, wow, that's rich. Powell's press conference is expected to provide insights into the interest rate direction. I have a strange feeling. That's why I started it saying that they could keep it pat. And if they kept it if they didn't move interest rates at all and they just did zero, I think that would have further implications, because then Trump's going to immediately come out and say we need to cut interest rates. And either way, I think we're in that 60-day holding pattern right now anyhow. You had 60 days from Trump's, when he first came into office, to get all this stuff done. And I think we're kind of in that, let's get rid of as many people out of crypto as we possibly can and some of these other assets before the real move actually that's what it's starting to feel like. But the Federal Reserve may delay further cuts, yada, yada, yada. The Fed began reducing interest rates in 2024, in late 24, with the 50 basis point cut in September and subsequent cuts in November and December. Future cuts may total 50 basis points, but future reductions depend on economic slowdown and lower inflation. Although it is anticipated that President Trump's low tax policies will boost economic activity, his trade tariffs and immigration restrictions may cause inflation to rise and delay future rate reduction. Since inflation is still high and the economy is doing well right now, there is less need for large rate reduction. I'm not sure where anybody sees that the country's doing well right now. We're actually in a severe case of flowing into a hyperinflation right now. That is by no means good. We're completely upside down. It's kind of disgusting and lacks integrity when they keep saying that our economy is doing great. It makes no sense. There is less need, blah, blah, blah. Future Fed decisions may also be influenced by the declining labor market and upcoming changes in non-farm payrolls. The next set of inflation data for January 2025 are scheduled to be released on February 12th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It remains to be seen how the markets respond going forward as new AI firms like DeepSeek challenge the might of NVIDIA and others. Inflation rate cuts and AI will remain the focus areas for investors from here on out. I have a whole big conspiracy with DeepSeek. I think we've already known about it all along. I don't think we're behind at all. And what I really think is going on here is they're going to use that and say, oh, we're well behind China when it comes to the chips, and we're going to have to fund via printing money to Stargate. That's just what I see. So don't shoot the messenger, but I think this is all bullshit. I think that whole thing with China and that chip is all nonsense. And I think it's a sleek way and a very suave way to trick the general public and funnel a bunch of money into Elon Musk Stargate underneath our very noses in the guise of national security because we're getting too far behind in AI. That's what I personally think is going to happen. And I personally think we're going to have a huge spending package that echoes what I just said. You don't have to say yes or no right now. Just watch what the future holds. I can almost guarantee that's what's going to happen. Guarantee it. I've seen this too many times in my 41 years to know when something's up. I see the smoke. I don't see the fire necessarily unless you're in Chicago now. You know, isn't it convenient that we had the weather report that said that wildfires were coming in Chicago in the middle of winter when it's freezing cold out. So, I mean, there's something going on that is going to shut this country down in a very big way soon. So just be aware. Be aware. Have fun while you can, but be aware of the ominous times that are ahead. But anyhow, back to crypto. XRP, because I do have to go. I got to get my son to school at 8:20. It's a very busy day today. I want to do the FOMC coverage, so I'll have to see if I can manage to do it. But I definitely want to watch that with all of you at 2. I know I have something with my son for his tablet, but Julie might just have to take reign with that today because it's over the internet. It's and she might just have to take control of most of that because I got to get some business done at that time too. So we're watching XRP. We need to break over that $3.19, and that would propel us up to that first area of $3.70, and overall up to $4.43 off this formation. If we could break out, a breakdown, let's say we lose the 200-day here at about $3. We need to hold $2.98 on the 2-hourly. If we lose that, the odds on are we're going to come all the way back down. And right now, you could see this all the way down at $2.58 if we can't break out of here. And we also have the possibility of a hanging man pattern that is forming here. So if this pulls down, so we came down and up, down and back up, but couldn't make a new high. If this comes down and we lose this support, the odds are this is a hangman and this could be a top. So that's something we're watching as well. I'm not going to shy away from it because it's not popular, but what I am saying is until it breaks down, there is no way I'm buying into it until it forces me to say, hey, the market's over. We're retreating like 2021 because right now it all looks like a ominous flow and something doesn't smell right. When something doesn't smell right, I'm very interested. So we'll be around at 2 p.m. today during the FOMC meeting to watch Jerome Powell live, and we'll take care of business then. That might be the live for the day because I might end up just doing an extended live there and getting into the charts and stuff after he talks. So it'll probably just be an extended live, and we'll do our live around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today so we can stay ahead of all the news and the notes. Have a blessed day, everybody. And I'm telling you right now, pay attention. Don't get too emotionally involved, but this could be a very volatile day to the downside. If we keep rates the same, there's a very real chance that some of these markets could start. So we just need to pay attention. If they raise rates, it's crashing. If they lower rates, we're pumping. If they stay the same, the likely caveat here is we'd probably see a small downturn, and then we'll have to figure it out. But anything, a freeze or a raised rate, raising rates, is going to cause volatility to the downside. If you lower rates by 25 basis points or higher, it'll cause volatility to the upside. I have a bad feeling they're going to keep them the same today because Japan raised rates, and I think we're not going to raise rates, but we'll keep it the same. Then Trump can use that, and then we'll just very, very violently start cutting rates in February, which actually makes sense because we're on a 60-day memorandum right now. So a lot of volatility to the downside they're trying to push on the market. And when I come on later, I'm going to talk about the governance token from CRO. It's at like 0.0000006 something. I started buying it at 0.00003 something. And now it looks like it's going to consolidate a little bit. So I may talk about that more because opportunity there for sure. There's opportunity. But we'll talk more about this after. I got to get ready. Have a blessed morning, and I will see you later.